Kia ora everyone, and welcome to a Computer Side Chat. So, some of you may have noticed that in some of my more recent videos I've taken a bit more of a self-reflective tone in these kinds of videos. And this chat is partially to explain why. So, back in 2017, mid-2017, a classmate of mine who was also quite active in politics came up to me and started pushing me, challenging me, asking about my personal growth. And he pushed me to actually look, while at university, to see how I could grow as a person. And to his credit, it did get me thinking. And even now, I no longer consider him a friend. I think he's an egotistical jackass. But I still value that push and how it actually got me to think about my own personal growth. But when I first sat down, it was actually really difficult to think about how had I grown and what did I need to do. But the more I sat down, the more I reflected and thought, it actually became easier and clearer. And in some ways, I figured out I had grown more than I had realized. And I actually did start thinking about it more as I started watching YouTubers like Charisma on Command and people like Jordan Shanks, who some people might also know as Friendly Geordies. And the more I thought about it, the more I looked at these people, I actually started to feel really good about myself and actually realize I have grown quite a bit. But I still ask that question, how have I grown? What can I still do to grow even more? And the other intent of this video is to talk about those experiences and how I've realized that I've grown. But also, if you're wanting to start a self-help journey of your own, maybe find places to start, or heck, you may even find you've started it without even realizing. When I first started thinking about it, the two areas of my life which I realized I had grown quite a bit in were both finances and diet. And finances, I guess I did have a bit of an advantage having both the student allowance and a small-time job, but it did teach me to be a bit more restrained, to put needs over wants, to be disciplined in saving, and yeah, that is still something you can even learn as a child, but I still think that's important, and it is still a really good way that has helped me grow. But I would have to say diet would probably have to be the biggest improvement with my life. Now, there were some negatives to staying university diet-wise. I did start drinking a lot more coffee. Not much more than a cup a day, but still a fair amount of coffee. I did find myself snacking a bit more, eating quite a bit of chocolate and sweets. I do have a really big sweet tooth, and that was. But I did start thinking about this, and I have actually taken some really good steps, some without realizing again. Take for instance here at home, every Wednesday I have to cook my own dinner. And, you know, you realize you can't eat like a kid, you've got to be able to cook for yourself. And I've got a pretty good cooking repertoire. I've cooked curries, I've cooked chops, steak, some absolutely fantastic food. In fact, just today I just put on a corned beef for my family. The more I realized it, I also realized I was cooking more fresh food, less processed food. I haven't cut that out entirely, but I eat a lot more that's fresh than processed. And of course that's great for keeping fit and helping you to lose weight too. And out in that, I've actually cut down on how often I've been to a fast food place. I don't really go to McDonald's or Burger King, and through illness? Yeah, I guess you could say illness. I actually went off pizza. Well, actually, pizza from places like Domino's and Pizza Hut. I still make my own pizzas with fresh ingredients and all, which is much, much better. So I've actually started eating more fresh food, cutting a lot more junk out of my diet, and I feel really great about it too. Snack-wise, that is still something I need to work on. I still like snacking on chocolate, although I haven't had a chocolate bar in ages, so that's good. But actually, one of the snack foods I started eating a lot more recently is dried apricots, which is a lot healthier. There were a couple of sparks for that, like getting some dried apricots at the place I work at. I was able to get a bowl, fill it up, and be able to snack on that if I ever got peckish during the day. And it's a lot better and healthier than me going to the dairy and having to buy a bar of Whittaker's. And it did spill over to university. I started getting dried apricots as a part of my breakfast when I went to class on Thursday mornings this summer semester just gone. And, well, I'm pretty happy with that I've started eating and drinking a lot less refined sugar and more natural sugar. I've still got a fair ways to go though. I still do eat a lot of refined sugar, and I do need to find where I need to make those cuts. And of course, exercise is still needed, which I do have some good opportunities to work with. So hopefully I can find those opportunities to not only work on my exercise, but to continue to improve in terms of my diet. There's also facing your fear. And I've actually done quite a bit to conquer some fears that I have. Going back to cosplay again, I was so scared to cosplay Harley because I feared judgment, I feared ostracization, I feared my parents might think that me cosplaying a woman might mean something else, that they wouldn't understand me, which was why for so long I kept it a hidden secret. I put off doing it until I gained that bit of confidence from Maggie, and I admittedly went in the deep end for trying to conquer fear. But I managed to get through it. My parents found out, and while yes, they are still a little bit, well, they're still very confused. I mean, for a guy like me to suddenly say, oh hey, I want to cosplay a girl, that is really baffling, so I can empathize with that. And sure, I still get the occasional funny look for people who look past and go, oh, that's a boy behind that, or something like that. I find that the fear has greatly diminished, especially as I've evolved my cosplay, and I actually feel very confident in cosplay as well, and it has started to bleed into other aspects of my life. My younger sister and I were once walking home from the butcher's one day, and she actually noticed that and talked to me about it. And the more I thought about it, I was astounded. But I guess for everyone, it's facing your fear isn't as easy as just going in the deep end. I know that can be frightening, but that gradualism, the approach of slowly opening up to people about, slowly opening up yourself to exposure to finally conquer it, develop bravery, that is another great way to deal with fear. and that's something I can relate to as well. I have another fear of well, I have a fear of judgment, and it's still there, but I've started to gradually ebb away at it in small ways. Um, being a bit more open about one of my guilty pleasures, which I'm not going to mention here, but opening up, being a bit more comfortable with who I to make myself more comfortable with who I am. I did have one slightly bad reaction, but still, I've faced that fear. It's not necessarily been conquered, but I've made a great effort in facing it, and that has helped me grow. And I guess for what I want to do, which is politics, there are a number of things I do need to do to grow. And one of those big things is public speaking. And I've actually had the great benefit of being put in a position where I can still develop those skills. My parents, being pastors, have asked me to do Bible readings, sometimes do little interviews, etc. I do like a little bit of drama, being in character, etc. It's great. And as I grew, developed my public speaking more, I realized how well I was doing. From year 10 at high school onwards, I aced all my high school speeches, highest grade, and I was pretty happy with that. And then I've had so many other great experiences as well. Extracurriculars where I could speak in public, debate, and get really great reactions in the process. Heck, I've even spoken before a select committee of my country's parliament. And I've even got a warm reception from members of parliament, and that has really been a great boost to my confidence. And I love those opportunities, so continuously putting yourself into that position, even if you're a little bit scared, to grow slowly and steadily, that has been a great improvement for me. But like many things with self-improvement, we have never finished continuing to improve in our lives. And there are still aspects of my life which I do want to improve. One of the big things a lot of people have told me is I'm too nice, and I can understand that. I guess I like to be able to think myself as being pretty easy to work with, a cooperative person. However, part of me does feel, what's the word, ashamed? No, not ashamed. Sometimes I do fear conflict. Like I said in my last computer side chat, I sometimes feel like my mind goes into a worst case scenario if I consider doing something that may not work out as well. But I do still need to learn to be able to say no more. It's not that I can't say no, it's just I do it so rarely. And I guess it's also be willing to speak my mind a bit more. I do need to work out where I can do this, but hopefully I can. But I am committed to doing it. Just need to find the way, and I know that I can. But that's the end. I hope this has been of some use to you if you're trying to find your way on your own self-help journey. That was another Computer Side Chat. I'll see you guys next time.